Victoria is the one that asked for Cal to have some chest hair. I was like, okay, well, he has chest hair. He needs armpit hair too. And so then we had an armpit hair discussion. Those are the kind of conversations you end up having. Hi, I'm Joel Gennari. I was the illustrator for Red School by Soman Shinani and Victoria Aveyard. Merging the worlds together was a challenge from the beginning, especially with the fact that her characters were going to be visiting Soman's world. Pretty much on any project, the first thing I do is design the main characters. Red School isn't canon, but in this sort of alternate universe that we created, it would probably be sometime during the first book of each series. Well, that posed a problem because I was like, well, your characters are super young in your first book, and her books are like late teens, early 20s. So we need to balance this out because that won't work. It came down to like two choices. Either we age Victoria's characters down or we age Soman's characters up. And obviously the answer that made the most sense was to, okay, in this alternate universe we're creating, it's more like high school. Certain characters were easier than others. Tedros was tough. I pushed him into like an older realm, but Soman really wanted to hold on to that teenage heartthrob look. And so then I pushed him back younger again. We went back to like a Justin Bieber realm area. And then it still wasn't working. And so I had like my older, most studly version of Tedros. And then I had this like Justin Bieber Tedros. We're like, what do we do? And we're like, merge the two, find that middle ground. And that's what we'll do. Designing all the characters was fun, but it was always fun in different ways for me. Designing Victoria's background characters, the Silvers, I had so much enjoyment. For Victoria and Soman and you, it was very important that someone who had never read either series needs to be able to read Red School and understand what's going on. I was like, well, we don't really talk about that, you know, the Silvers all have elemental powers. We just kind of show it in these moments when they go nuts because they've been zombified. And I was like, well, I need a way to explain to the reader if their power is like water. Visually, since we're not talking about it, it's not said, the reader needs to be able to see it. And so I was like, okay, well, what if I made their outfits look kind of like a wetsuit? And I sort of went down the line like that, like the Shivers, very pale. I gave them like white hair that hopefully reminded you of like ice. The Banshees, I tried to make their outfits look kind of like a ghost. The comic book is just visual beats, and so when I read the manuscript, I try to always think, okay, visually, the last panel of the page has to be where the reader can take a breath, and then we flip the page, and it's a new moment. Here's an example. So in the manuscript, you all had written that Smoke enters Hort, and he transforms into a werewolf. So I had to think of it in like beat. We had that moment of the Smoke entering him, and then I thought about, okay, well, beat-wise, if this were a movie, there'd be a shot of Hort afterwards, just sort of standing there like suspenseful. There'd probably be a reaction shot of people looking at him, and then it would go back to him, and then he would transform. And so that's how I drew it. I work all digitally now. I do the digital pencil work until it's like a clean enough version that I can go over it with an inking brush, and then I begin to color it. And then the last thing I do is put the final bubbles in. The initial bubbles I actually create when I do the roughs. I need to know where the bubbles are. Like, I don't need to draw something super detailed if I know a bubble is gonna be covering half of what I drew. If you were to remove the bubbles, you'd see some very strange things probably. Favorite panel of the book? It's definitely the page when the zombies go crashing through onto the roof and are chasing them to the airship. That one page, I had so much fun drawing it because a lot of it's just like crazy facial reactions. That page took me, I think, like 3 days to do. I like to work very fast. So if a page takes me 3 days, I'm usually hating it by the end and I'm just like forcing myself to finish it. But for that one, I was having so much fun doing all of it. This was a labor of love. It was a passion project, I think, for all of us. I didn't tell you this when I came and got the mock-up from you. I got so teary on the train ride home looking at it. I was like, oh my goodness, it's been so many months of my life. Again, my name is Joel Gennari. I was the illustrator for Red School by Soman Shinani and Victoria Aveyard, and we hope you love reading it as much as we loved making it for you.